Hillary Clinton was about 4 states too early, and she was talking about how bad coal was and how they were going to teach coal miners how to make widgets and gadgets and technology, which they didn't want to do. They want to mine. One thing I learned about the coal miners, that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse on Fifth Avenue and a different kind of a job, and they'd be unhappy. They want to mine coal. That's what they love to do. And she was going to put them in a high-tech industry where you make little cell phones and things. I don't know. Do you think he'd be good at that? I don't know. I would be. You don't want to be.
Acknowledging that some of the people in the crowd did laugh at that seems wildly elitist, everything that he was saying there. Like, yeah, they don't want anything better. What's the point of giving them nice things? They just want to be stuck in a mine. And sure, maybe there are some coal miners, it's like a 5 generations back sort of thing, but I feel like a lot of them are, it's economic necessity that they're down in the coal mines rather than just a love for mining or whatever. But anyway, we play that old clip to tell you that Donald Trump has loved to posture on the campaign trail as a guy who loves coal, okay? But as you saw in that video, does he actually love the people that do the mining? Or is it just a convenient backdrop for a campaign ad? Well, we've got some updates on the state of coal miners that indicate that he doesn't really seem to care that much about them because they could really use his help and he's AWOL. So some of them, maybe previously had been big fans of Donald Trump themselves, are now actually gonna be doing some protesting, okay? Dozens of miners coming up just tomorrow, as of when we're recording this, are going to be protesting the Trump administration outside the Labor Department building. Maybe they'll get to see that big poster of his face hanging off the side of it, arguing that the Trump administration has failed to protect them from black lung disease, an incurable illness caused by inhaling coal and silica dust. They've been waiting months for the government to enforce federal limits on silica dust, a carcinogen that has led to a recent spike in the disease. But mining industry groups have sued to block the rule, and the Trump administration has paused enforcement while the lawsuit plays out. See, there had been a prior administration that had wanted to protect them a little bit, but they're not as cool. They don't go down and do the event with him or whatever, so screw them. All the previous administration wanted to do was protect them from a terrible illness. Donald Trump, not so much, okay? You can be with the miners, or in this case, you can be with the management of the mining companies, and Donald Trump has clearly chosen his side. And so some of these coal miners are really feeling that this has been a major substantive bait and switch. Gary Hairston of the National Black Lung Association says the companies might be getting a handout, but the miners ain't getting none. And so Gary apparently has been living with black lung for 30 years at this point. This is not some new problem, obviously. I'm sure you've heard of it before. And coal dust health threats have been acknowledged by the federal government since 1969. But still, it's a problem, keeps reemerging. Particularly, we referenced earlier, not just the coal dust, but also silica dust. And that's a particular problem for younger workers, okay? Experts said that this is in part because of changing mining practices, because a lot of the thick coal seams in Appalachia have already been mined. So instead, you need to go for what you can find. You have to cut through more rock to get to the smaller seams. And when you do that, you increase the risk, not only once you get to it of the actual coal dust, but of the silica dust as well. And silica dust is a big problem. It's composed of tiny crystals that can lodge in lung tissue. It is considered 20 times more toxic to lungs than coal dust. It can also lead to things like lung cancer and kidney disease. And there were supposed to be limits specifically on the silica dust back in April of this year. But as of right now, as we said, that is on hold. And boy, is this a great time for a champion for coal miners to swoop in and save them. And yet Donald Trump, he's got nothing for them. Maybe he'll talk about how they shouldn't take Tylenol to deal with the silica dust or whatever, but that's it. What do you think, JR?
Yeah, these are the times when someone, and we talk about the Democratic Party and their issues. This is the time when someone who represents what it is that he's holding up will give you this nice highlight, spotlight on what it is that they're always doing. These elitists in the White House, because that's been the distraction and the divisive tactics that they've always used to convince people like coal miners, firefighters, whatever groups that they say they always have support from, farmers, as they continue to screw them over to this very high rate. someone's got to point it out explicitly, repeatedly, over and over and over again. Because, yes, coal miners may take pride in the things that they do because that's kind of the lot that they've been given in life. They grow up and they're born here and they're born into this business. Folks, the farmers get passed down from one generation to the next. And even though there's dangers surrounding it, do you think they don't want a better life? Do you think they'd rather just die sick and young and then abandon their families? Do you think families of coal miners don't know the extreme risks of that job as he stands in front of them? And I saw half of them behind him stone faced. So when they're up there and they have to, come off as looking like they support the guy, that they agree with the divisive things that he's fooled them into agreeing with him on, it's kind of a confusing position to be in. We're listening to these farmers talk about how they're getting screwed, but as soon as someone asks, so you're gonna vote for him again? I did say that trans person is scary. Yeah. It's a simple process. And he, again, like I was saying earlier, the guy is free and happy that he gets to do and say whatever he wants. And there's very minimal consequence for it. Yeah. Somebody's got to be the one to point out, you can provide some consequences for this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, hopefully there will be some media attention on the protests tomorrow. I mean, I imagine Fox News and OAN are gonna be on the ground. They love coal miners. After all, they're always sticking up for them against like solar and wind and everything. So I'm sure they'll be there to represent their side of the story.